One of the things that I see time and time again is people just taking the easy way out. And them not doing, they're cutting corners in every aspect of their lives. They're cutting corners when it comes to, their health and fitness, which we already discussed. They're cutting corners when it comes to, doing the right things to make sure that their finances are in order. They're just, they don't take their lives seriously. And I think you can call it laziness, you can call it apathy, but I think at the end of the day, it's just a lack of belief in themselves to get things done. And I believe this because I know what it's like to be on that side of the fence, because I was that person who didn't care to get things done. I was that person who was falling through the cracks. And it was just because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have that confidence, that self-assuredness, that self-esteem that says that, hey, you are worthy of better things, start acting like it, and because I didn't believe that, then of course my actions reflected that belief and I had the results to show it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flourish Podcast, and my name's Abe Brown, and I'm here with another guy with the same initials, A. Brown. This is Alex Brown. Not to confuse you, he's the good-looking one. I'm Abe, this is Alex, and he's the better-looking guy. But Alex, welcome to the Flourish Podcast.
Thank you, Abe. I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful that you're here, grateful that you're here in person. Alex has become a great friend, and he's really a guy that I thought it would be awesome for you to hear a little bit about his story. So I'm going to read his formal bio just because I just want to give somebody the respect of kind of how they want to be described, but then to let him kind of feed into that in terms of the authenticity of his story. So Alex Brown is a self-improvement writer, and I love that, leading with writing. That's so great. He's a speaker, he's an athlete, and a martial artist. He's written for some of the world's most prominent personal development blogs, including ours, and has delivered presentations to schools, charity events, businesses, and organizations, educating audiences on the power of self-improvement. So that's awesome, Alex. Welcome.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. I know I wrote it, but you just said it so great.
Well, I was going to try to bring in, I'm not sure who's that guy. Let's get ready to rumble, that guy there, because he probably could have done it a lot better. I'm going to do what I can. So Alex, thanks for coming out, man. And you're a young guy, but you've got a lot of wisdom. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I guess as the bio mentioned, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm an athlete, I'm a martial artist. And, one of the things that I think has really just been instrumental in me developing myself and becoming the man that I am now is just, showing up every single day and doing what I got to do to push through. And, I didn't start out as a person who had a lot of drive or ambition. In fact, when I was younger in high school, I was kind of a pretty big mess up, to, put it lightly. And, I was just able to kind of, pull myself up on my bootstraps, get it together and start working towards a better life, and here we are.
That's awesome. And I see you even have it tattooed on your arm there.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, motivated and disciplined. And so nice. It's funny because I haven't actually told this story too often, but motivated and disciplined. So that's kind of like my brand, my trademark, and that actually comes from the story back in my hip hop days. And you were familiar with my freestyles, my rapping, and stuff like that. And back in my I would say from 14 to like 27, that was what I wanted to do. I thought that was going to be my life path. That was it. Just like this whole rap thing. And that was what I was going to do.
Very talented, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. One of the things that I did, the year was 2014, and I just released a new CD at the time. I remember when CDs were a thing. Yeah. But
back in the day.
Yeah, right. But I just put this new CD, and I don't know where it came from. It was just like a hunch or an inspiration. I just decided that I want to get this out there, right? And so I was just like, you know what?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna hit the streets, and I'm gonna hand out 1,000 copies of this CD. And I was just like,
brilliant strategy.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
And then so I just did that. I like bought all of the covers. I handmade them. I bought the CD cases. I burned it onto those CDs, and I just hit the streets, Abe, like every single day, just handing them out to random people, just stopping them like, hey, I'm a local artist here in Calgary. I'm a rapper. Can I rap for you real quick? And most people were very open to it. And after their little demonstration, I would hand them off the CD.
Love it.
Yeah, and it took me about 7 long months of doing that every single day. And I went through the blistering cold. It was a really cold year that year.
Wow.
And every single day of 7 months. And when I completed that, when I reached that goal, it was just like, man, I was motivated to do it, and I was disciplined to show up every day for it. And so
love it.
Kind of just came together.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me because I think about it through a psychological lens and through a coaching lens that sometimes people are motivated, but they're not disciplined. Mm-hmm. Other times, actually, I've seen people disciplined but not motivated. In other words, it just becomes a routine. It just becomes a habit with no life, no energy. It's like form but no substance. Whereas I think what's more common is, I got this motivation, right? It's kind of like you go to the gym in January and it's packed, and then March you could literally roll a boulder through it and not hit a soul, right? And so tell us about that, because you said from kind of the age of 14 to 27 didn't sound like you were too motivated and disciplined or focused, or you know, or at least in your teen years, I guess. What did that shift look like for you?
That what made me more disciplined?
Yeah, like how did you move and shift, you know, from being that high school guy who wasn't really activated in your potential and your purpose, but now obviously you are?
Yeah, I would say pain.
Pain?
Yeah, just pain. You know, when I was, 15, 16 years old, I was just kind of wasting my time away, wasn't doing anything. I was smoking weed every day. I dropped out of high school 3 times. I was just kind of floundering around and not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And, you know, I remember seeing my brothers, they were doing well. They had jobs, they were working, they were contributing to the household, they were moving out and, you know, building up lives. And I was getting left behind. And like, I just knew that there was more to me than that. And so, that created enough pain for me to just get it together and say that I didn't want to be like that anymore. So.
Okay, so you were doing the rapping and the freestyle, and which is great. And now, you know, you're focused on writing, but along the way you were doing some speaking and athleting, I guess, and martial artistry. So talk about the physical journey for you, martial arts, being an athlete, all of that.
Yeah, that's something I feel extremely passionate about, because I truly believe that the cornerstone of self-improvement is just physical development. Yeah. You cannot be your best version of be the best version of yourself if you're not physically healthy, fit, or at least striving to become that, striving to bring that quality into your life. I just don't think it's possible. And again, this goes back to the everyday thing, Abe, where I talked about, you know, I just showed up every day to accomplish that 1,000 CD goal. I just took that discipline and I applied it to my physicality.
Love that.
I just decided, you know what? I don't even know where it came from, to be honest. I mean, a hunch, inspiration, call it God, whatever you want. But like, I just felt compelled to do it, to just show up and to, you know, put in that work. And I just started working out every day. It could have been a 5-minute workout at my home. It could have been a 10-mile run with a friend. It could have been, you know, just a quick ab workout if I was super busy and I just was on the go and I just didn't have time. Nice. But I just started working out every day, and that evolved to me, you know, running a couple marathons, training martial arts, and really just adopting this lifestyle of being an athlete and being healthy and strong, and really, you know, just embodying it. So.
Yeah, and you said something that really, really spoke to me there. I mean, you said a few things, but, you know, I think this is really important, that, you know, you can't really, essentially, to sum it up, you can't really be all you can be without focusing a little bit on your physical being and your physical body. So tell us about that, because I'll tell you, I've been alive long enough to see people die too soon. And obviously, sometimes those are accidents or tragedies, or they get a disease that obviously is not their fault. So this is not blaming the victim. But other times, I'm going to be honest, I have seen people who haven't taken care of themselves. And any sort of objective observer would sort of think, hey, that person died probably far sooner than they could have. Now, that could be through excessive consumption of alcohol. That could absolutely be through an overdose of drugs or illicit substances. But sometimes it's just something, not just something, but, you know, maybe it's obesity and maybe heart attacks or heart disease or strokes that are brought on by those things. And so, you know, talk about that for a little bit, like the physicality. Because I think today, you know, it's interesting as we have evolved into more of a holistic focus on mental health. To me anyways, it's really important that the physical piece doesn't get left behind, because it feels like there's a relationship between those things.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's a keystone habit. If you've ever read The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, great book. He dives into the science behind habit formation and why we do what we do and how we can influence our behaviors to change them for the better. And one of the things he describes is keystone habits. And keystone habits are the certain habits and behaviors you adopt that end up spreading out and, you know, influencing other habits until your whole life has changed as a result of that one single habit. And I truly believe that physical activity, exercise, is that one, or is a main keystone habit. It's like the minute you start taking care of your body physically, even if it's only for a 5-minute walk around the block and just doing that every day, that starts to, influence other areas. Maybe now you want to eat an apple a day. Maybe now after that, you want to start journaling. Maybe after that, you want to start reaching out to friends and family that you haven't connected in a little while. And it's like all these pieces just begin falling into place over time, right? And so, but it all starts with just that one single activity. And I think that's the thing too. I think people blow self-improvement and trying to work on themselves out of proportion, when all they need to do is just start with one simple thing and just cut everything out, focus on that, and then it'll start to take care of itself over time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So then you've also done some martial arts and some things along those lines. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I am a martial artist. I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I also teach the kids kickboxing classes at my academy, which I absolutely love. Those little munchkins, they're crazy, and I'm learning so much, but no, it's awesome. But one of the things that martial arts has taught me, or I guess reinforced, I guess I already knew these qualities, but it's just reinforced the importance of just showing up, being okay with failure, being okay with not having things go your way, and being tough, being strong, because the world, it's going to kick you in your teeth. We're all going to fall flat on our face. We're all going to have times where things are difficult and challenging, and that's going to be everlasting throughout all of our lives. And I think if you deliberately put hardship into your life, doing difficult things, whether it's going to a martial arts class, whether it's taking a cold shower, whether it's taking the stairs instead of the elevator when you get to your apartment, like whatever the case may be, it's like that strengthens you. It makes you tougher. It makes you better, and it makes you feel like that you can do other things, or take on other challenges that come your way. And so that's one of the beautiful things about martial arts.
Yeah, I love that, and it sounds like, I always hate to say this stuff because I don't know if I'm afraid that it makes me sound old or whatever, but I just don't think like you can find your purpose without pain. Mm. And I think the problem that we have today, and I understand it because we all need conveniences and we all like our comfort. Me too, by the way, but that can become so alluring that you actually recognize that for thousands of years human beings thrived on this planet without all of the modern conveniences, and that maybe there's something to that you allowing yourself to lean into pain a bit and into hardship and into discipline is not a bad strategy if you truly want to flourish and thrive. And so talk a bit about that. Like, what are you seeing out there? You put on your social commentator hat, and what are you noticing, right? And it's not judging, but I think it's just, you're an observer of culture, and so am I. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question, Abe. And one of the things that I see time and time again is people just taking the easy way out, and them they're cutting corners in every aspect of their lives. They're cutting corners when it comes to, their health and fitness, which we already discussed. They're cutting corners when it comes to, doing the right things to make sure that their finances are in order. They don't take their lives seriously. And I think you can call it laziness, you can call it apathy, but I think at the end of the day, it's just a lack of belief in themselves to get things done. And I believe this because I know what it's like to be on that side of the fence, because I was that person who didn't care to get things done. I was that person who was falling through the cracks. And it was just because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have that confidence, that self-assuredness, that self-esteem that says that, hey, you are worthy of better things, start acting like it. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't believe that, then of course my actions reflected that belief, and I had the results to show it. And so, yeah.
And so writing, tell us about your passion for writing. Tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. So, I am a writer. Right now, I currently write for a couple clients. One of them is in the States, both of them are in the States, but another one that could be intentionally adopting is one out in Europe, I should say. So that one is not set in stone right now. We were just actually having a discussion about that earlier. But the writing, this is something that I've been actively working towards for the past, I'd say, 4 years now. And nice. It's just been an exciting adventure, because prior to actually doing this full time, I worked construction for about, I think, 8 years. Okay. And I absolutely hated it. I did not like it. And I stuck with it so long because it was just that comfort thing. You got that steady paycheck, and it was good money working in construction, but I just never saw myself as that type of person. And look at these tiny hands, right? These are writer's hands, like, for sure. But and so I just always knew that I didn't actually know that I always wanted to be a writer, but I knew that there was something else for me, right? And so when I got into writing, because I was initially giving speeches, I thought that was going to be the main thing, which that is, that's on the back burner right now, but because, priorities. But I started writing in my blog to kind of bolster my speaking career. And I just found out that I loved writing. I just found out I loved just sitting there typing on my keyboard, working with my words and putting them together to make a cohesive article or, a web copy page or whatever the case may be. I found it relaxing. I found it fun. And from there, I just never looked back. And as you said in the introduction there, I've written for many personal development blogs on the internet. I've worked for one of Canada's top digital marketing agencies. I currently write for Flourishing, which is awesome. I'm learning so much just diving into your guys' content. So that's been a true treat. And excited to see where this is going to take me next.
That's so cool. So, I really believe writing is such an important skill.
Yep.
And I know a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches and business people tap into this podcast. And what would be 2 or 3 tips you could give for people who may not even enjoy writing, but it's a part of their job, it's a part of their function at some point? Give us a little bit of wisdom about writing that could help make it a little bit easier for somebody.
That's a good question. And that's a hard question to answer because there are some people, they just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And but if I could give, I guess, one piece of advice, find a way to write about things that you do enjoy. You don't have to enjoy the writing aspect, but if you can write about something that actually you do like, whether, maybe in your business, you're really passionate about, client results, or you're really passionate about just the marketing efforts that you put into your business, find a way to tie that into your content. For the marketing example, you could put that in a blog post, and that right there could be evidence that marketing, I don't know, that could right there could be it could be a safe point for people, because people want to feel safe if they're going to do business with you. They want to trust that their investment is going to be protected, that they're going to see an ROI on their on their investment. So you can find ways to write about things that interest you, while at the same time giving value back to your people, and making it clear that you're a safe person to work with. And so just find ways to kind of tie it back to things that you enjoy.
Love that. Yeah. It's interesting because you can take that enjoyment and use it as fuel for when you have to write about things that maybe you don't enjoy. And even me, sometimes I love to write, but sometimes just the sheer volume of email responses and stuff, it's just oh, do I really have to do this? And boy, I'll tell you what, it's good to pull on the things that you do enjoy in order to help you get through the things that you don't. So, let's talk about flourishing for a few minutes. And I don't mean our organization, I mean more so just flourishing in general. What do you think it takes to flourish and thrive here in 2024?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say intentionality.
Okay.
Be intentional. Nothing happens by accident.
Right.
And if you're relying on, I guess, luck to come and save you, or to, sweep you up into some magical place where things are getting better and constantly improving, it's you're going to be waiting a very long time. And so I wouldn't recommend that approach. Be intentional about what you want. Set the goal, make a plan for yourself, burn the bridges behind you, say that this is it, draw that clear black and white line in the sand, and start doing what you got to do. Connect with people if you need to, go online and learn some strategies, talk to who you need to talk to, get connected with who you need to get connected to. It's intentionality. Nothing can substitute for that. You got to be intentional.
And what do you think is holding people back from being more intentional today? Mm-hmm. I know that's going a bit deeper, and I guess we could give the easy answer. Well, for everybody it's different, but it's really clear that broadly speaking, we kind of have an ADD culture a bit, and that's not an insult. I mean, hey, I got my ADD diagnosis when I was 7, right? Back in those days, they called it hyperactivity disorder. And I always thought having a lot of energy was like a superpower, but apparently it was a disorder. And now I've graduated to ADHD, allegedly. But, so I could use that as an excuse, and I could say, hey, man, sorry, but I've got this thing, it's called ADHD, therefore I'm just not going to be focused. This intentionality thing, that's for chumps. I'm just different. And what would you say to that?
I would say
chump. That's a word you haven't heard probably for a little while.
Yeah, that's an old school one. That's an old school one.
Absolutely.
I would say check your attitude.
Check your attitude.
I would say check your attitude, because intentionality is one thing, but how you think about yourself, the world, and other people, that right there is going to precede intentionality, because it's a form of mindset, right? Your attitude and your mindset, they're kind of one and the same. Mm-hmm. And when you're able to dial in that and get that properly tuned, then intentionality just comes as a byproduct. And so maybe I should have started with that, quite frankly. But just make sure that your attitude's in the right place, your mind, you're in the right headspace, your heart's in the right place. And honestly, doing that's a tricky thing. I think maybe if you have trouble getting those things aligned, then maybe talk to somebody, maybe connect with, somebody here at Flourishing like Abe, or, reach out to a friend or a loved one that you know and trust, and try to see, where your weak spots are, where your blind spots are, and try to figure out the issue that way. But make sure that you're right in here before you dive out into the world. Otherwise, you're just going to be heading for trouble.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important, right? Because the things that distract us, obviously there's a lot of external distractions, but the internal distractions can be even tougher to deal with. And until I look within and sort that out, it's very difficult, I think, to then sort of arrive at intentionality. And weeding through that sort of mess, I think, is really important, taking the time to do that. That's actually one of the things I love about writing, is that it, at least for me, it forces me to clarify what I'm thinking. And it sometimes takes me a while to get there, right? And maybe that's where journaling comes in. And I just allow that stream of consciousness to flow either with a pen or with the keyboard. But then as that stream of consciousness comes out, eventually it starts to make sense. And eventually I start to think about how I'm feeling, and think about what's important to me, and think about why I want what's important to me. And I feel like we have such an externally driven culture that it's a bit more difficult for people to get internal these days.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I really like that you brought up journaling there, Abe, because that's been a powerful, antidote in my life too.
Okay.
Just overcoming those mental blocks. It really has. And so I think that's one thing people should take into consideration is journaling.
Okay, so what is your advice for young people right now? What are you thinking young people need to hear? Younger people.
Get serious. Get serious about something. It could be anything. You want to start a podcast, connect with some people. You want to write a book, start that first chapter. You want to run a marathon, go for your first 5K run. Get serious about something, because if you're not dialing in and honing in your focus, you're just wasting your time. And, you're young now, but I can promise you that goes by very, very quick. Yeah. A lot quicker than you think. Time goes by a lot slower when you're younger, but the older you get, the faster it goes. And it kind of gets a little bit scary after a while. So get busy doing something that means something to you, I would say.
Right on. So, Alex, your social links, I'll just mention a couple of things, his website, folks, and please, we'll put this in the show notes, but it's alexbrownofficial.net. That's alexbrownofficial.net. And his Instagram is alexbrown.official. And then he's got a YouTube channel as well. So Alex Brown Official. And I would totally check Alex out. There's something I think happening in younger people today. And I really mean that. So much of the sort of current culture is a bit down, I think, on millennials and Gen Z. And I just think that's so crazy, because a lot of the ones I see are exactly like you're talking about here. They're motivated, they're disciplined, they're super intentional. They're really trying to figure it out. It's harder today, I think, than it was, let's say, 50 years ago. And the only reason I say that is because there's just more opportunities for distraction. There's more opportunities to get in the ditch. And so, when you only have 2 distractions, it's a lot easier. But when you've got 900, it's much more difficult. So check Alex out, but more so than checking him out, if you need a writer, a copywriter, if you need somebody to help you, finish your book, or if you need somebody to help you just figure out how to write better, or if you need somebody to help you with blog posts and professional communication, this is your guy. He has really put a lot of time and effort into honing the craft, and that's actually how he supports himself right now. And I think that's just so cool. That is courage. And so tell us, if somebody's listening to this, what would be some things that you could offer? And you don't have to go into pricing or anything like that, but, what are some of the problems as a writer that you could solve for a business person out there, or for anyone who might be listening?
So definitely one of the things that I see a lot of business, or one of the problems I see a lot of business owners have, is they just don't have the time. They don't have the time to write their content. They don't have the time to write high quality blog posts and articles that are actually going to engage and connect with people, that are going to establish that know, like, and trust factor, that are going to build an audience, and all of these things. And, I've been doing this for about 4 years now, or no, 5 years, sorry, about 5 years now. And see, time flies, I'm telling you.
When you're having fun.
There you go, right? And so, it's just one of those things, man. But I'm able to write articles, blog posts, web copy. I've written for one of Canada's top digital marketing agencies for a few years, and had a ton of experience there. Email campaigns, and website or web content improvement tasks. So if you have blog posts or web copy that needs refreshing, then I'm your guy.
I love it. And, I don't think that writing is going away. I know that there's probably somebody listening to this and they're like maybe a a TikToker or a person who loves to do video, and hey, keep doing that too. But I also think that, the learner, the person on the other side, some are visual. And so, hey, do your TikTok videos. But there's a lot of people who are like super auditory and they don't want to watch something. They don't like all of the flashing sounds and the noise and the music. They just actually get into it by reading. I was on a plane like literally yesterday, and I was sitting down because I was speaking for the last 2 days solid. And, sitting down to my iPad to do some watching of some Netflix video that I had downloaded. It's just an hour flight. But literally everyone around me, it was kind of funny, was reading something. And I thought like, I'm a chump. But I guess because I'm reading and writing and speaking all the time, I felt like I'm okay. I just need to rest my brain a bit here. But it was actually like a real reminder to me. And of course, everybody was reading on their tablet, with their Kindle or with some some ebook that they were reading. But it really spoke that writing is not going away. If anything, it's increasing like never before, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I've heard a lot of people say that AI is going to come and like take over and everything like that. And it might do that for the writers at the bottom of the barrel who aren't really serious about improving their craft and getting better and delivering more value for their clients. But I can tell you right now, when I read an article, I can tell if it's AI generated. It's bland, it's boring, it lacks soul, lacks depth. And in this new age, this just means that we all need to step up our game. You know what I mean? And so that's just one of the things that comes with just jumping into business and in this world that's constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality, right? And I love how you say, I mean, you just get in there and you can sniff out the AI pretty quick. And it's not that that's a bad thing. I mean, sometimes, you can get a little creative help with some AI or something like that. But I love what you said, digging into the craft. And again, maybe you're that business owner, maybe you're that coach, maybe you're that thought leader. And you're thinking and you're coaching, but you just don't have time to do all of the precise things when it comes to writing and get your content out there. So please do reach out to Alex Brown, alexbrownofficial.net. So, my friend, any last pearls of wisdom for our audience out there?
Pearls of wisdom. Let's see. Whenever I came up with this quote yesterday, I was running on the treadmill and it was a little bit more of an aggressive run. And this is just about people and the connections and the people that you allow into your life. And I don't know why I was thinking about this, Abe. It just kind of hit me out of nowhere.
Sweet.
But I was just running and it just hit me that if you're going to let people into your life, make sure that you qualify them first. Make sure that you're taking the time to qualify individuals first. Make sure that they're good people. And that right there is just the beginning point. That's just allowing them to get their foot in the door. Don't let them make themselves at home until they've really proven themselves that they're good quality people and that they're going to contribute to your life, and vice versa. You got to be a good person as well. So.
That's so good. Yeah. Hey, don't let people into your life unless you qualify them. And boy, I think that could save a lot of heartache and a lot of pain. So that's great advice. Thanks, Alex. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. So again, folks, please do check out alexbrownofficial.net. And definitely we'll put some of his info in our show notes. And we'll see you next episode. Thanks, everybody.